Okay, so you're probably wondering, why are you being so quiet? Well, the reason is I was in the house right in there. That's my kitchen window, right behind the sink. And looking out that window, ooh, a squirrel. There's a squirrel up in the tree right in there. But I was in the kitchen there, looking out that window, and beyond this brush right here, I seen some taller stuff back here, and it was moving around, and it reminded me of a while back where my path is. It goes down to the river. The vegetation was a little tall there, and I was down there looking at the river, and I started seeing the we'll call it grass. It's not grass, but that's what we call it. But it was moving the same way, and what it was, there was some type of a critter down there. I still don't know what, but it was biting at the base of the grass, the tall grass, right? And it's falling over, and then it'd get like a bunch of it laid over, and then it'd pick it up and carry it towards the river. Well, the way that looked in my mind, I was seeing the same thing looking out my kitchen window. So I come out here real quietly because I wanted to try to catch whatever it is on video. And I figured if I would have been talking while coming out here, would have scared it off. We never would know what it was. But before I started talking, I was looking and looking and looking, and I don't see anything that would entail wildlife activity. But this area here, I used to try to groom it. When we first moved in, I come through and I ran my mower through there. Of course, the soil went further out. The river's taking a lot of it away. So it used to go, it would extend further out that way towards the river. And we had you'd go down that way, and then you could walk back and come up over here. And, kind of a little pathway, little nature path thing I made. And, I spent plenty of time down here trimming it and everything, but the river keeps taking away. Like, I just noticed I haven't really come down and looked at that tree, but that tree is laying closer to the ground. If you remember, it used to extend up here, and you look at that rocky ledge right there. That's limestone, and it's real brittle, and as it rains it gets even softer, and it breaks and collapses. So it doesn't surprise me a bit, the tree's laying down. And man, the Lord works in mysterious ways. I've seen huge groupings of, we had a huge grouping of trees that was right at the river's edge, and the river, or by means of the river, it leaned over, and it fell across the river just like that. And within a week or two, could have been a month, I don't remember exactly, but we got some rain, some heavy rain. The river rose up. The next day that I could come down and check out the river, that grouping of trees was gone. My wife and I, we walked a mile down the river looking to see, because you would think something that big, it would have got jammed up on something along the way. Nope. We walked for a mile down the river and could not find that grouping of trees. With the grass, or the growth down here like it is, I don't want to get too close to the edge because I'm just not ready to take that tumble. But back in April of this year, I had a stroke. I don't know if many of you know that. That's partially why I don't make a whole lot of videos like I used to. But since I've had my stroke, well, let me say, right after I had my stroke, I wasn't able to do much of anything. Every day since I've had my stroke, there's been improvement. With me, and the, the way I see it is God brought me through it, and He put all the right medical staff around me to get me through it, and so yeah, I owe it all to God that I come through. At the same time, as a matter of fact, within days of my stroke, I was in the hospital, and I got word that my aunt had a stroke, And hers was much, much worse than what mine was. It was way more severe. It was hard at the time to appreciate what God done for me, and protecting me through that, it was really tough, trying to have, or be joyful of my outcome, and at the same time knowing that my aunt, she was only 4 years older than me, because I got an uncle that there's a year between he and her, so there's 5 years between me and him. And it was quite the experience. A lot of people would ask, why does God allow people to go through stuff? And I personally think that it ain't that. Well, I mean, let me put it this way, we go through stuff to strengthen us, and depending on where a person is in their walk with God, everything you go through makes you stronger. You may not realize it, but then there comes a time when our time is up. We don't know when that will be. I mean, could you imagine? For instance, I was born in early 1969. Well, I can go ahead and say it because my YouTube, I named my channel after my birth month and year. I was born in January of 1969. And but when I was born, could you imagine if when I come into the world, I was holding in my hand warranty information, for me to give to my mom, saying that this warranty is void Well, or this warranty expires at such and such a time, such and such a date. It just don't happen. But could you imagine if it did? Do you think that if you knew exactly when your time was up, do you think you'd plan your life differently? Would you live different? Would you be more kind to people? Would you show more love and compassion? Or would you just be mean and clobber everybody you meet? How would it make a difference in your personal life if you knew the day and the hour of your own passing? Alright, I think I'll end this here. I kind of rambled a little bit. I started off looking for that critter out there by the river. So, I'd like to hear what y'all think. Look how dirty my truck is. Where I work at, we have a very rugged. What I mean by that is there's tons and tons of potholes. It's a gravel parking area. It's very dusty, as you can tell. You get the slightest little bit of moisture, and then the sun beats down on it as there's truck traffic comes through, constantly kicking up the dust. It settles down, and this is what it looks like. And it's just nuts. But y'all leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. How would your life be different if you knew the exact time and day that your life was going to end? What would be different? Okay, y'all take care. Catch you later.